All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're digging into a really powerful idea from Dr. Jake Madden, and it's this. The single most effective thing a leader can do isn't about managing people, it's about intentionally growing them. We're going to unpack what that actually looks like in practice.
So let's just start with a really honest question for you. Think about your last work week. I mean, really think about it. Where did your time, your focus, your actual energy go? Were you putting out fires, chasing compliance paperwork? Or were you truly actively growing the skills of your team? And look, this isn't about judgment at all. It's just a diagnosis. It's about seeing where we are right now. And here's what the research shows us, which is pretty eye-opening. Most leaders, it turns out, spend less than 40% of their energy on teacher growth. All the other stuff, the admin, the meetings, the compliance, eats up more than 60%. And this gap you see right here, this is the danger zone. It's where our best intentions to have an impact get lost in the day-to-day shuffle.
So that brings us right to our first section. We're calling it the leadership energy gap. This is all about exploring that disconnect between what we say we value and where our energy actually goes.
You know, this really requires a fundamental mindset shift. We have to stop thinking about management and start thinking about multiplication. It's a totally different game. Because when one leader truly invests in, say, 25 teachers, their impact isn't just added, it multiplies across every single student that those teachers will reach for years to come. That's how you get exponential results.
Which brings us to section 2, finding your highest point of leverage. And here's the good news. The single greatest opportunity you have to improve student outcomes isn't a new curriculum or a fancy program. It's already walking the halls of your building every single day.
And look, this isn't just a nice idea. It is backed by some massive landmark research from John Hattie. He analyzed thousands upon thousands of studies and found that the biggest difference in how students perform isn't between the so-called good school across town and the bad one. Nope. The biggest gap is from one classroom to the next, right down the same hallway. The variable isn't the building, it's the teacher in the room. So, what happens when we actually focus on that variable? Well, Dr. Madden's work puts a number on it. When leaders really shift their energy to intentionally improving teaching, student achievement can jump by as much as 20 percentile points. I mean, stop and think about that. That's not a small tweak. That is a massive, life-changing gain for students. But if the answer is so clear, right? Just invest in your teachers. Why isn't it happening everywhere? Well, it's because that 60% of a leader's energy is getting hijacked by a broken system. And that leads us to section 3, the crisis of compliance, where we've got to get real about the cost of how we usually do things. We start with a number that on the surface looks fantastic. 91% of teachers take part in professional development. We are definitely doing a lot of it. The system is humming, the boxes are getting checked, but as we all know, activity doesn't equal impact.
Because here's the other side of that coin. Despite almost everyone participating, less than half, only 44% of those same teachers believe it actually makes a real difference in their classroom. Just think about that disconnect. That gap represents a catastrophic waste of time, of money, and worst of all, of our teachers' potential. We've built a culture of compliance, not a culture of actual growth.
And this isn't some abstract problem on a spreadsheet. There is a very real, very human cost to this. It's the quiet quitting of our best, most experienced veterans. They don't leave, but they check out. It's the endless, expensive cycle of staff turnover. It's the burnout that leads to a whole culture of just trying to survive until Friday. This is what happens when we choose compliance over people.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem pretty clearly, but let's not just stay there. Let's talk about the solution. Welcome to section 4, a blueprint for growth. This is all about how we move past just having good intentions and start building a real system that actually works.
Dr. Madden gives us this simple but really powerful equation to think with. He says real student impact comes from 3 things multiplied together: the quality of teaching in any given classroom, the consistency of that quality across all classrooms, and the conditions, the culture, the support that make great teachers want to stay and get even better. When you invest in your teachers, you improve all 3 at once.
So where on earth do you begin? You start with a diagnosis. The ACE framework is an amazing tool for this. It helps you look at your school through 3 lenses: alignment, capability, and engagement. Are we all pulling in the same direction? Do my people have the skills and resources they need, and are they genuinely motivated to do the work?
Finding out which of these is your weak link, that's your starting point.
Now, the big picture blueprint for building this culture is something called the Collaborative Teacher Learning Model, or CTLM. The easiest way to think about it is like a new operating system for your school. It completely replaces those boring one-off workshops with a living, breathing system where learning is just part of the job. And what makes it so effective? It's built on 4 core principles. It's inquiry-driven, so it treats teachers like the professionals and researchers they are. It's job-embedded, meaning the learning happens with their own students in their own classrooms. It's data-informed, and it's deeply collaborative. Growth becomes a team sport, not a solo mission. All right, here we are at our final and, I think, most critical section, design your first move. This is where we stop talking about big ideas and start making them small, concrete, and something you can actually do in the next month. Here is it, your action plan. Step 1, focus. Don't try to boil the ocean. Pick one teacher or one small team. Step 2, design. Get crystal clear on your vision, your single next move, and the logistics to make it happen. And step 3, pressure test. Be honest about what's going to get in the way and figure out right now who and what you can lean on for support. That's it. That's how you start. But to actually execute that plan, you have to make this one final crucial shift in your own mind. Your role is no longer to be the supervisor, the inspector, the boss. Your role is to be the enabler. You are there to run interference, to provide tailor-made support, to fiercely protect their time to collaborate, and to make sure they have everything they need to get better at their craft. And let's land on this quote from Dr. Madden because it just says it all. High-impact leaders don't just hope they'll find time for this important work. They know they won't. So instead, they intentionally design the systems that make this work inevitable. They build a culture of growth on purpose. So we'll end with this question for you to take with you. A year from today, when your teachers look back, what's going to be the evidence? What's the proof? How will they know, not from your words, but from your actions, that you truly chose to invest in them? Because that's the whole game. When you grow your teachers, you multiply your impact.